Hi everyone, SleepyLizard here with I guess a last minute surprise live stream. I got the house to myself tonight. My son's in playing his video games. My wife is out with her friends. And I just finished working from like one of them sun up till sundown work days. Let me see if I can get us live on this computer so I could see comments and stuff like that. Okay. Who's here? Let me see. Hey, let me know you're here. Who's here in the chat? Tonight we're going to talk about avocados, and I'm going to do some giveaways. Give away a hat, maybe give away a box or two of avocados, give away a t-shirt. Hey, Nightwolf, how you doing? Good to see you. Who's that? Oh, Don Smith. Are you the same Don that is the first one to reply to all my TikToks, to put a comment on all my TikToks first? Man, this stupid tripod I have makes my phone crooked all the time. So now it's crooked the other way. Let me straighten that out. I didn't announce this stream because up to 10 minutes ago, I didn't know I was going to do it. But I'm sitting around the house bored. I don't get the Monday Night Football. Actually, I should have checked. Maybe it's on NBC because I don't have ESPN, so I don't get Monday Night Football. But I thought, you know what? I think I've been neglecting my YouTube a little bit, neglecting my fans. I've been mainly doing short little TikToks and Instagrams and YouTube shorts. I haven't done any long form YouTube videos in over a month. And I don't know, neglect maybe ain't the right word. I just haven't thought of anything to talk about. And so I don't force myself to make content. There's times I go out and 4 days in a row, I'll make 4 videos and I'll put them up once a week. Then there's other times that go by and I can't think of nothing to say. But I just wanted to check in on y'all, see how you're all doing. Greater Good wants to hear the whole finger story. So yeah, I'll tell that in a minute. Let's wait till the room fills up a little more, Greater Good. And well, there's 19 of us out there now, so why don't we kick this off with a little contest. I'm gonna hold up an avocado, and you guys tell me what variety it is. And the winner gets a SleepyLizard hat. If you've already won a hat and you win this one, we'll switch it for a t-shirt. That's not a good specimen of that type. Here's a good one. Okay, what type of avocado is that? Go ahead and start guessing in the chat. First person to get it wins themselves a SleepyLizard hat. But I've got a bunch of different varieties over here to review with you. And also, I just want to chit-chat and entertain and answer your questions and stuff like that. Ken De La Cruz, you win. So I'm writing your name down now. Now, Ken De La Cruz, I don't recognize you from this stream, but you're correct. That was a Monroe. So let me write your name down. Ken De La Cruz gets a hat. So Ken, here's how it works, buddy. You got to go to the About section of my YouTube channel and just send me an email. You know, there's like a little button there that says send email, and just say, hey, this is Ken De La Cruz. I just won one of your hats. Tell me your address where I can ship it to, and tell me what color do you want? Red, gray, blue, or black. Nobody ever picks red. I think there's something about red baseball caps. People don't want to wear red baseball caps, actually. But for the last 3 weeks, though, I think people do want to wear red baseball caps. So I'm expecting to see a spike in the color red. But my reds haven't sold at all, where my blues, grays, and blacks I've re-upped like 5 times each. But maybe we live in a world now where it's okay to start wearing red baseball caps again. We'll see. But anyways, Ken De La Cruz. Go to my home, go to my About section of my YouTube channel, click on the button that says send email, tell me you're Ken De La Cruz, tell me your address, remind me you want a hat, remind me that you want a hat, and tell me what color do you want, red, gray, black, or blue. Okay, let's see who else we have out here. We had a few other guesses, and they weren't there. So Greater Good is saying we should like the stream. I'll go ahead and I'll like it. I'll like my own stream. Juan Morales, you guessed Monroe, but Ken De La Cruz beat you to it. Sorry. Sebastian Lawyer, a green one, no, you don't win. You got to be more specific on this channel. Sorry about that. Avo Man, South Africa, how's things down there? What time of day is it in South Africa right now? Carl Kesnar, cheers from up the road in North Florida. How you doing? These are some epic avocados, and I'm going to cut a few open to show you what they look like inside, but I'm not going to be able to eat one. Myself, my son, and my wife, we were picking, packing, shipping all day. I got as many out to UPS as I could today. I have a bunch more that have to go tomorrow. Very busy day. UPS super busy also. And it was just one of those long days. And when I got back from my last run to UPS, I just ate a gigantic leftover cheeseburger from 2 days ago. I didn't even taste it, and it probably tasted like crap. I didn't even heat it up. I just took it out of the fridge, put it on a bun, slammed it, had a bunch of leftover French fries. How disgusting is that? Who eats leftover French fries? But I just had to eat, and now I have this like yuck feeling inside of me. So I'm not going to be able to fit any food inside of me. So I'm not going to eat any of these avocados, but I am going to open some and show y'all what they look like. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. So Carl, hey Chrome, do I grow Ganep or Mamoncillo? I do not. Are you from Puerto Rico? People from Puerto Rico always ask me that question. I do not grow those. Frosty, how you doing, buddy? Hey, are you getting snow up there yet? My parents live in Pennsylvania, and I know you're north of them, and they got slammed. They got about 8 inches of snow the other day, which was awesome for them. Adnan and Greater Good asked either, how's the finger healing? I mean, according to the doctor, it looks good, but it don't look good to me, man. It looks like ground beef under this bandage. I'm going to tell the story of what happened when we get some more viewers here. But yeah, it wasn't that good. So South Africa, it's Tuesday at 0300, so I'm guessing that's 3 in the morning. Your day job is a school teacher. What the hell are you doing up at 3 in the morning then? Manuel Gonzalez, did I ship your order today to California? So Manuel, tell me this. Did you order Monroe's, which was the one I held up that people guessed? Did you order Monroe, or did you order the new variety that I'm selling, which is the Booth 8? I got all the Monroes out today. Tomorrow I'm getting all the Booth 8s out the door. So Manuel, if you tell me which one you order, if you ordered Monroe, they're on your way. They'll be there Wednesday. If you ordered Booth 8, they're going tomorrow. 2-night shipping, but since Thursday is Thanksgiving, they'll arrive Friday. Carl, it gets a wee bit too cold up near the Georgia border to grow avocados, but some people bring them in during the few cold weeks of your winter. Yeah, we even had a frost here one time in the 13 years that I've been farming avocados. So I can't imagine being far north where, you regularly deal with frost. It'd be too hard. Avo Man, South Africa is up at 3 in the morning marking tests. Wow. Frosty, it got up to 30 in your greenhouse by 5 in the morning. So you went out at 6 a.m. to warm it back up. That's good. Tell us, Frosty, how do you warm up your greenhouse? And for those of you that don't know Frosty, Frosty lives up in Vermont, and he has a greenhouse, and he tries to grow whatever he wants. He doesn't care whether it's meant to grow in Vermont or whether it's meant to grow along the equator. Frosty likes a challenge. He grows bananas, he grows mangoes, he grows avocados, I think he grows apples, he grows black tomatoes, he grows whatever the heck he wants. And like I say, he doesn't care. Okay, Manuel, you ordered Monroe. They're on the way. My son and I dropped them off. We picked and shipped Monroe all day today, and we're doing the Booth 8s tomorrow. Ruben, oh, you said I'm awesome, but it's time for family worship. Okay, so I'm guessing you're going to church. Okay, well, have a good time at church, Ruben. Frosty, it's not snowing yet, but it's supposed to snow on Saturday. Okay, all right. Manuel, can you grow Monroe in California's own 9B? Yes, you can. Monroe is one of the cold hardy ones, and it's also just hardy in general. It's a fast grower, and it's a really good producer. It's a regular producer, and it produces a big crop. So yes, you absolutely can grow Monroe out there in California in zone 9B. And y'all are gonna have to forgive me if I'm a little sleepy today, if I'm a little sluggish, because like I say, it's been a long work day. Perry appreciates me, thank you. You keep threatening to come down and see me, And you promise you're going to make your way down and hang soon. Yeah, man, whenever. Let me know. Let me know. It's fun here. Carl has seen people growing bananas in greenhouses in Minnesota and Iceland. Where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, believe me, Frosty is able to pull it off. He's a real smart young man, and he's going to make it work. Greater good, pinch zone, learned the hard way. Yeah, there's more to it than that, greater good. It's more than just pinch zone, learn the hard way. I'll explain it. It's even stupider what I did. They're so-called Chinese-style greenhouses meant for very cold climates that use a thick wall for thermal mass. Yeah, I guess you'd have to. Brad Stewart wants to know, does the Florida Hass taste any good? And I'll have to rely on people in chat to answer that question because I've never had one. So anybody of you out there who's had a Florida Hass, does it taste any good? Let Brad know. Now, there's a new variety that I've introduced on my website, which is guacfarm.com, GUACFARM.com. And it's every now and then I get my hands on a specialty variety and I'll call it out. So I used to have a grove that sold Russells. What I do is I own my farm here, this property that I'm sitting on right now, I own. And then what I try to do is lease other properties for as long as I can. And for example, I don't grow the Russell variety avocado here. I leased a farm that did grow Russells. Then that landowner sold the farm. I lost my Russell farm. There's varieties of mango that I don't grow, but I lease a 5-acre farm. And we do all the caretaking, all the picking, all the selling of the mangoes. It's like it's our farm, and we just pay a lease to the landowner. That's actually very common in agriculture, by the way. A lot of even big farmers out west that do like grain and corn and stuff like that lease from other landowners. And so I've recently leased another 7 acres because you guys are so hungry for avocado that not only do I need the supply, but as most of you who follow me know, there's different times for avocados. There's early season, May, June, July, mid-season, July, August, September, then late season, September through January. And most of my crop here that I own is September through January. I have very little of early and mid, but I have a 5-acre place that I lease, and now I just leased another 7 acres. And on that 7 acres is a variety called the Booth 8. And they're very different from the avocados that you've seen from me. I mean, look, you know, that's about a mid-sized avocado, right? This is one of our, well, I'm not going to say what it is because we'll do it in a contest later, but these are the big ones we grow. This is about a mid-sized one. You know, here's that Monroe I showed earlier. Look at the size of that monster. That's every bit of 4 pounds right there. I got these little itty bitty guys. They're called Booth 8. And I've actually put them on guacfarm.com, GUACFARM.com. I put them out on Guac Farm as a separate item. They're a separate line item that you could buy and put in your shopping cart. Because most of you are ordering and you either get 4 of these monsters or, you know, 5 like mid-sized avocados. But the Booth 8, we're fitting 9 or 10 in the box. And it also, it's a very different avocado. It tastes a lot like my favorite variety. Which I don't have here in front of me. I thought I did. It was going to be I might have fell on the floor. It was going to be one of the ones I use in the contest later. Well, we'll see if I could find it. But it's a very dense and sort of like pasty texture. And the flavor is so good. They are so good. And the skin is more like a shell. When my wife eats these, she cuts them in half and she just scoops the meat out like she's holding a bowl. I'll show you how we do that in one. Okay, actually, let me show you right now. Let's see how many people we got out here. Yeah, we got about 40 people. I think it's time to show a Booth 8. So this is the Booth 8 variety. And this is a variety we're now selling on guacfarm.com, GUACFARM.com. I only have 15 orders left. I only have about 150 pounds left on the trees. My son and I were out there today. We're picking and packing and shipping Booth 8. We've been taking orders for it all week. We're going to ship them tomorrow. There's only about 15 orders left. So if you want to try the Booth 8, you better order it now. And if you want to do that, you could do that at guacfarm.com, GUACFARM.com. But let me let me cut open a Booth 8 and show you. First of all, you got to really like cut through it. You'll see the skin is almost like more of a shell than a skin. It's got a very crunchy texture to it. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, Florida avocados, they're watery. Well, this avocado is not watery in the least. This avocado is actually kind of dry and a little bit pasty. It's got a texture almost similar to Play-Doh. I can contrast that with, say, a ripe Monroe. Let me see if I can find one here. Here's a nice, here. Yeah, okay, this one will do. Here's a nice ripe Monroe variety. And look at this skin. It's like a skin. It's more like a peel. The knife goes right through it. And the texture of a Monroe is a lot more creamy. Actually, you could see the difference. You could see there's a little bit of shine. See the shininess here on the Monroe and the bright yellow color, where this has more of a dull green, and it's not shiny. It's not really watery or oily. It's kind of a little bit dry and starchy. It's meant to be that way, and it has such a nice texture. My son's walking down the hall. Let me just warn him that I'm doing a live stream. Tomboy, yes, sir. I'm on a live stream, buddy. Sorry. No, you're good. You're good. You can come say hello if you want to. So again, here's the Monroe. Here's the other side of that Monroe. And like I say, you could see how this one's more moist. This one's more on the dry side. And there are a lot of avocados that are this way. In fact, let's do a contest right now. Winner of this contest gets another SleepyLizard hat. This avocado is very similar to this one. And I'll give you a hint. This avocado is my favorite variety. So take a good look at it. First one to name this variety of avocado wins a SleepyLizard hat. It's not ripe, so I can't cut it open and show you how it compares to this one, but the flavor is very similar. My wife agrees also. Let's do our contest. Manuel Gonzalez, no, it's not a Simmons. So it's not a Hall. Perry Bridgman got it. It's a Lula. So Perry, you win. Let me write that down. Perry Bridgman. This is a Lula variety avocado, and one of its key, not only is it very accentuated pear shape, it's just a really, really, very pear-shaped fruit. One of the key characteristics of Lulas is they're susceptible to scab. They get a lot of scab on the skin. That's natural for this variety. Now, that's the opposite of the Booth 8. This grove that I took over, this grove that I leased, and I'm going to tell you more about it on the stream, has been neglected for like 20 years. There's all kinds of there's rogue trees. There's giant birds nesting in there. There's big giant clumps of bananas. There's grass that's, 10 feet high. This grove hasn't been fertilized, sprayed, mowed, nothing in over a decade. And look at how the Booth 8s come out. That's clean as a whistle. Now here on the other hand is this would be a choquette. No, that's not, no, that's not it. Where are we here? Where are we? Oh, I cut that one open. So here's a Monroe that is a little bit, Monroes are a little bit susceptible to scab. And that's also from this same grove. There's just a little bit of scab on it. But the Booth 8 is impervious. It just does not scar up. I mean, it'll get wind damage, but it's a very clean avocado. Another contrast for you to look at is the thickness of the skin. So look at how the Monroe just has a little bit of a peel. This is the Monroe. The skin is more like a peel, whereas this guy has a very, very thick skin. And like I was telling you, I'm really not going to be able to eat it. But I am going to scoop out the flesh. So look, my wife, she'll just pour salt. She'll sit here and just scoop out the flesh. Some people say a Booth 8 reminds them of a Hass variety avocado also. But look at this. Look at how hard and rigid. Look, that's the shell that's left over. You couldn't do that with a Monroe. I mean, if you really took your time and tried, but there'd be a lot of meat stuck to the inside, and you'd probably like rip it up into a bunch of pieces. But this guy here, well, I just kind of crushed it a little bit, but it stays together like a shell. And then the meat, this is not an avocado that I would recommend to mash up and make guacamole. This is an avocado that I would recommend eating it, eat with a spoon with some salt and pepper, cutting into cubes, putting it in a salad, put it in sushi. It's got a very, look at it, the spoon stands up. See, well, not when you tip it upside down, but it'll well, let's see here. I'm having some issues with physics here, but there, it'll make a knife stand up. That's how thick and, what's the word? I'm like, dense the flesh is on this. If I tried this with a choquette or a Monroe or something like that, it would fall right over. So give me a second here, Perry Bridgman. So Perry, I don't know if you were on earlier, but what you need to do is go to the About section of my YouTube channel, and it'll say send email. Send me an email, tell me your name, tell me it's Perry Bridgman. I don't know if that's your real name or just your YouTube name. Remind me that you want a hat. Send me your address and tell me, do you want red, gray, blue, or black? Let's check in. Okay, so yeah, Ken De La Cruz got it, but you already won, Papa, so you're out. You ain't getting more. You ain't getting more. Any more prizes. Nightwolf, you were a little slow on the draw there. Oh, Perry just planted a lula in his garden because of me. Yeah, it's my favorite. I love them. I was out, we grow these also in this new grove that I leased. It's 7 acres. And I was just kind of out taking an inventory today and looking at what we got. And I was thrilled to find some lula trees. I love the lula and I can't wait to sell them next year. The lula also has like a very dense, thick flesh, but the lula does make a good it's creamy enough that you could make a good guacamole out of it. But this guy here is more on the order of like a pollock. If you've ever had a pollock, it's more starchy and thick, the Booth 8. Yes, Booth 8 comes with its own bowl, Andrew. You're absolutely right. And Greater Good, you're right. This is a huge lula. They're usually about half this size. You're right about that. And that's why I grabbed this one. Josh Mick. The skin looks like it's from a reed or a nabal. I don't know the nabal. The reed, yeah, I know. The reed has a thick skin. I wasn't aware of that. Daniel Agabo ordered some Monroes today. In fact, I think that's your real name because I think I remember typing that name in the label. Yeah, you ordered it late, like in the evening, right? Like around 5 or 6. I believe you might have been the last Monroe label I printed today, Daniel, and yours are on the way. Brad Stewart, no, that's not a Russell. The Russell's huge, like a bowling pin. Josh Mick, okay. Nightwolf, if you lease a farm, do you hire workers to keep up the irrigation? Yeah, when I'm responsible for all of the upkeep of that farm. I and my partner, I have a partner, he does not like to be on, he don't even watch videos. He don't want to be in YouTube. He don't want to be on Instagram. He don't want to be even me take his picture on his birthday. But me and him and, do all the work. We have all the workers, all the equipment. He owns all the equipment. And we do it together. And yeah, we have to hire workers and everything to take care of it. Yes. Let's see here. Josh, does Choquette make good guac? Choquette makes excellent guac. Choquette is delicious. Choquette is buttery. It's creamy. It mixes right up nice. As I've said on this stream many times, it mixes into rice really nice. It's excellent. Ken De La Cruz, when am I going to be selling lula? Next year, starting in October. It's too late. This grove that I leased, you can't even get to the lula trees. Like I had to bushwhack with a machete to get back there. I can't get any picking equipment in. I mean, we have to work all winter. We got to give this thing a Brazilian wax. It is nasty, and we're going to clean it out nice. And I'll probably get some good content for the YouTube channel, making videos about it. So yeah, it'll be a year from now, Ken. The good news is this grove also has Marcus pumpkin, which I know a lot of you guys want. I had some Marcus pumpkin earlier when I was looking at this grove, and I was pretty sure I was going to lease it. And I bought some off of the landowner, and they sold out in like 4 hours. Like, you guys went crazy ordering the Marcus pumpkin. People still see my Instagram and my YouTube videos about that variety and want to buy it. So next year in October, we'll also have Marcus pumpkin. Frosty. You're using a heat lamp. Okay, fantastic, man. That's smart. Greater good. I agree with you. Pollock is an amazing variety. And this one would the texture would remind you of a Pollock. It's not as sweet as a Pollock, though. This has more of a traditional, like, Hass avocado flavor. Perry, you wear my t-shirt all the time and people comment. You know, it's funny because I've had 2 t-shirts throughout my life that people comment on. One is this one, which makes me real proud because I designed it. Like, I didn't draw this, but I sat down with a graphic artist and came up with the idea and had her do a few drafts till we landed on it. And I love when people are like, hey, that's a great t-shirt. I drive around with them in my truck, and sometimes I'll give one to someone if they pay me a compliment like that. As my chat now blows up with people saying nice t-shirt, good, nice try. And I also had a shirt that had a Tyrannosaurus Rex with those like disability grabbers, like for short people, so they can grab things off of high shelves, and people would always say to me like, wow, that's an awesome t-shirt. And one time I went back to Pennsylvania, that's where I come from, and I met my friend Al, and he brought his daughter, and we had our son. And we went to Hershey Park, which is like a theme park next to the Hershey Chocolate Factory, which has since been shut down. They probably make Hershey chocolate in China now or something. But when I was a kid, the factory was operating you got within 20 miles of that town, all you could smell was chocolate. It was amazing. And now the park is still there. And I met my friend, and everyone's complimenting me on the Tyrannosaurus Rex t-shirt. And I go to Al, I go, hey, everyone always compliments me on this t-shirt. I said, I don't even know where I got it. He goes, that's my t-shirt. I left it at your house when I was visiting you in Florida. And so I wore it for the rest of the day, and then I gave it back to him at the end of our day at Hershey Park. But yeah, Perry, I'm glad you get compliments on the t-shirt. Yeah, Lula, Nightwolf. Lula's not the creamy one that I said goes well with rice. That's the Choquette. Lula makes good guacamole. Lula is good right out of the husk, like I showed you this one. Lula is great on toast. You can make guacamole with Lula, but it's more on the dry side. It's more on the starchy side. It's the Choquette that's just amazing with rice. Okay, Robert Zowinski is asking, how's my hand doing speed of recovery? And Doug's here. How you doing, Doug? I'm glad you came, and you're asking about the finger too. And Robert, nice try. I knew a lot of people were going to compliment me on the shirt. Thank you. Once I said I'd give them away for free to people who compliment me. But I appreciate it. The hand is doing good. I get the stitches out Wednesday, or at least I'm supposed to. So for those of you who don't know, I cut like the top of my finger off, like basically from the top knuckle up, but I didn't go through the bone. It was just all meat. And I was picking avocados for you guys. It was a Monday, like today. Monday's my busy day. I was picking avocados. And Sunday, the day before, I told my son, because he was bringing his girlfriend over to the house, and I knew he was going to try to get her up in the picking machine. That's his move. And it's a different machine. He's asking me how to start it. And I go, okay. I go, but remember, don't ever put your hand on the outside of the rails. Like when you're operating a picking machine, you're in the little cupola, right? Don't hold on to the rails like this, because you bang into stuff. You bang into branches, you bang into tree trunks. Keep your extremities inside the cupola, inside the little bucket, right? But on Monday, I was making a TikTok, and it paid off, because the TikTok across all my platforms, it has gotten over 1 million views. But I was making a TikTok showing how we pick avocados, how we use the machine, how we measure them, what time of year, all that kind of stuff. And while I'm telling this story, let's have a contest. And I don't think any of you are going to get this one, but we'll give it a try. This is a huge avocado. Take a guess. Whoever can guess this one gets a Sleepy Lizard hat. Go. So here's where I screwed myself, greater good. When you're making a video and trying to work, there's a zillion things on your mind. making a video, is a lot, especially when it's a one-man show. I'm the writer, director, producer, sound man, lighting coordinator, editor, and the talent, right? And I'm also operating the picking machine, picking the avocados, doing everything. I guess that falls under the talent part, right? And so I was so busy looking at the camera, making sure I was in a shot, and I'm just steering the machine where I needed to go, and blam, I just smashed into a tree. And I knew immediately that I was looking at my finger to make sure it was still there. I mean, it was a violent hit. And I backed the machine off and came down, and everything was crushed. I couldn't really get a good look at it. So I took about a minute, and I thought, well, can I keep working? And then I looked again. I said, oh, no. And then the bleeding started. There wasn't a lot of blood, believe it or not. And I came in the house, told my wife I'd made a big mistake. I got to go to the hospital. Let's go wash this off in the bathroom. And in my mind, I'm still thinking maybe I could just wrap a paper towel and some Scotch tape like I do all the time. Doug, like I did the day you were here when I stabbed myself with the knife. You get hurt a lot. When you're a farmer, you're also a mechanic. You're also doing construction. You're also doing demolition. You get hurt sometimes. It's just the nature of the business. And as I'm walking to the bathroom, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can wrap it up, tape it up good, and at least get through the day. And if it hurts tomorrow, I'll go to the hospital. And when I went to wash it under the sink, the pressure of the water almost ripped the rest of it off. It was just dangling by a few little shreds of fat, So I put it back on, wrapped it up, went to the hospital. And even on the way to the hospital, we had to stop for gas. And I said, maybe I'm overreacting. I was going to go to an urgent care center, because the wait's less there. And you just pay. It's like one fee, $300, you're in, you're out. And so I was at Tom Thumb getting gas. And, my wife was pouring the gas. And I sneakily unwrapped it to think maybe I could turn the car around and finish working for the day. And when I saw how bad it was, I actually not only decided not to go home, but I decided not to go to the urgent care because I knew I'd wait there for 45 minutes and then they would just send me to the ER. And I was right, because as soon as I got to the ER, they took me right in. Like they bumped you know how they got them little rooms in the back they stick you in when you go to the emergency room? They actually bumped a patient and put me in because, time is of the essence when you have to reattach a limb or, in my case, the upper part of a limb. And so they were they kept telling me like, oh, you're handling this really well. Oh, you're really tough. Oh, you really have a high pain threshold. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I said, there's no pain at all. I don't feel a thing. For those of you who grew up north where you get winter, it felt like when you walked to school when you were a kid with no gloves. Your mom says, wear gloves, wear gloves. You don't wear gloves. And then an hour later you get to school and like you can't feel your fingers. That's what it felt like. And it still feels like that to some extent. But I'm like, no, I'm not tough. I literally don't feel anything. And I think that gave them an even greater sense of urgency. And then the doctor came in, he looked it over, he says, the doctor goes, I think I could save the finger. And then everyone kind of chilled out. Then they washed it. That hurt. That hurt. When you get a burn or a wound washed, that hurts. That hurt. Like they gave me something to bite on. I think they gave me like a towel to bite down on. Like it was like in the Civil War. I'm like, don't you guys have like morphine or something in this hospital? You're giving me a towel to bite on, But they gave me a towel to bite on. And put the little, cleaned it out, jammed it full of lidocaine. And then it was super numb, even the parts around it. And then 14 stitches. And I went back for my follow-up. They said it looks like everything's fine. And then I think I'm going to keep the finger. On Wednesday, I go to get the stitches out, hopefully. So I've been working one-handed, which is probably another reason I didn't make it to UPS on time today. So that's my story of what happened to my finger. Now, Perry, I didn't lose the tip. But in a way, 1 million views is worth a lot to me because I have to sell avocados, and when I'm making videos and getting views, I have sales. If I go like a week without making a video, I don't get any sales. There's a reason, All of you know who the Ford Motor Company is. All of you know who McDonald's is. You all know Fidelity Investments. You all know Nike. Yet somehow, especially McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, Ford, Chevy, Nike, right? They're bombarding us like 20 times a day. McDonald's probably even more. And you're like, I'm aware of McDonald's. Why do they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on marketing? Well, I understand why now. When I have a video that's doing good, I sell avocados. If I have a video that's doing crappy, I don't. Or if I haven't done a video in a while, I don't. And so, and I'm getting to keep the tip. Maybe if I lost the tip of my finger. And also, like, I'm old. Like, I'm already 53. I'm going to be 54 in January. I mean, if I made it this long, if I have to lose the tip of my finger, it ain't that big a deal. I mean, I don't want to like have to go to doctors and have to go to surgery and follow-up visits and pay my copay, my $8,000 deductible, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it would bother me a lot more like if I was in my 20s, you know. Not that I want to lose it, of course I don't, but I'm not really sweating it too much. Probably mostly because I'm going to keep it. I guess if I was going to lose it, I'd probably feel differently. Let's see here. Greetings from Texas. Hillbilly, how you doing, buddy? Okay, OC Neil, can I pin or post my Instagram account? I don't know what it is. Let me text my son so he'll come out here. Hang on a second, Tommy. Can you come here? Well, typing is terrible with this finger too. Oh, you heard me?
Yeah.
Come here, I need your help. What's my Instagram? They want to know my Instagram.
SleepyLizard.
Okay, my Instagram is SleepyLizard. So I'm going to type that, right? Instagram.
Wait, check to make sure.
How am I going to check? Oh, wait, maybe I could. Hang on, guys. I'm going to go on Instagram here. Instagram. And I get, Tommy, I just look at my profile. It says Sleepy Lizard Farm. Well, hold on. Maybe I can just.
That is Sleepy Lizard Farm.
Sleepy Lizard Farm. Yeah, Sleepy Lizard Farm. So wait, I can probably cut and paste. I'm not a total idiot. I can do some of this stuff. I do have a degree in computer science. There's the Instagram. And what's my TikTok, buddy?
I'll check right now.
TikTok. I've been doing really good on TikTok. I resisted TikTok forever. And then about 10 months ago, my son made me get on TikTok. He set me up an account. Well, I had an account, but I wasn't using it. And then he set it up for me. And man, I've been killing it over there. Guac Farm.
Guac Farm.
Guac Farm. Okay, so let me put that out there too. TikTok equals Guac Farm. Oh, wait, no, I'll just hit paste. There we go. Okay, so there's my Instagram and TikTok.
Can I put a pizza dog?
Yeah, make a pizza. Yeah. So let me catch up on the Shecky Diamond. This isn't Monday Night Football. He's out of here. Yeah, we'll see you, Shecky. Enjoy the game. Let's see. Oh, Hillbilly, your name is Joe. You want me to call you Joe? So when you say Hillbilly Yo, do you speak Spanish and your name is really Hillbilly Joe? Is that what you're going for there with your name? Frosty hasn't tried compost yet, but I know what soil you use, Happy Frog. O.C. O'Neill, Slim Cotto, double check mark. Interesting thing about the Slim Cotto, just about any avocado on this table could show up in grocery stores under the Slim Cotto label. Slim Cotto is one of the packing houses locally here in Homestead that we farmers sell our fruit to. And so if I choose to sell to that packing house, he'll relabel our fruit as Slim Cotto. So Slim Cotto isn't a variety of avocado. It's just that particular packing house's branding for whatever variety of non-Hass avocado is in season. So my fruit, if you've purchased a Slim Cotto in the past, you might have got one of mine. I'm not a fan of that branding, by the way, but whatever. I have my own little thing about why I don't think that's a great branding message, but I mean, that's just me. That guy's like a multi-gazillionaire, so he knows better than I do. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Carlos Jr. has a small Simmons, Russell, and Hall in a grow tent for the winter. Do I know the par reading it should be during lights on? I don't even know what a par reading is. I don't know anything about lights. I know there's a lot of overlap with this kind of stuff with people who grow marijuana. Because I get those kind of questions from guys who grow weed, but I don't know anything about that stuff. Georgia Gardner, how you doing? Perry, yeah, Lodine, scrubbing for an injury is never fun. Yeah, it hurt, man. I mean, it went fast, but it hurt. My toes hurt. Order Tommy Chipotle. Tommy, who are you? My toes hurt. You're one of Tommy's friends. Let me get a look at who you are there. I can't see that picture really good. Tommy's making a pizza right now, so he must have told you he's hungry. Greater good. So my son, yeah, he got her in the picker because that day I warned him about his finger. I was out making a video on the other side of the farm. And all of a sudden I heard a piece of equipment fire up. I thought it was one of my neighbors. And I really like when I'm making videos, even little shorts for Instagram and TikTok and stuff. I like when other farmers are using diesel equipment. Now this picker happens to be a gas motor. My friend is rebuilding the diesel motor. But I like it because in the videos, the background noise of farm equipment is nice. The background noise of roosters, or sometimes it's really silent and you could hear birds chirping, or sometimes one of my neighbors will have his diesel pump going, you know, bump, 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 bump. And it just really adds to the ambience of like the farm environment you're trying to set up. So I heard the piece of equipment fire up and I assumed my neighbor was doing some work. And then I heard some like giggling and squealing and stuff. And I said, well, that's odd. I don't know what kind of work my neighbor's doing. Then I finished that video and I was going over to the other side of the property to make another video, which is also going to answer someone's question from the chat here. And I see two people in I'm like, who's in my farm? And then I look, I see it's my son. So I real quick turned away, you know, because I didn't want to cock block him, you know what I mean? And I ran in the house. And so, yeah, he got the girl up in the picking machine. Someone asked a question, do I do any ground cover? I'll find it. It's someone up here asked me a question about, do I do any ground cover? And the answer is sort of. And the answer is sort of because we're losing land here in South Florida. We're losing farmland all around the United States, but here in South Florida, we're losing farmland. People are selling out to developers. I can't. I'm in a designated agricultural area. I mean, I could sell out my farm and make more money on that real estate transaction than I'm ever going to make farming this land till the day I die. But the zoning is such that I can't. I'd have to sell it as farmland. But people around the edges that aren't in this designated area are cashing in their groves, and then the developers are mowing them down and putting up developments, and it's insane. I mean, when my son and I came out of my other grove today, after picking for 2 hours, we had to wait like 3 minutes just for traffic to open up enough that we could turn on the road and start making our way home. And, you know, 3 years ago, there wouldn't have been no traffic. 5 years ago, you could be on a little tractor and it wouldn't even bother anyone. The amount of people that have moved here, the amount of land in the groves that have been smashed down, it's really sad. It's really sad. And as a result of losing our farmland, those of us that still farm the land are trying to get more use, get more production out of our land. So people like me who have groves, we do this like, there's probably a name for it. I don't know what the name is, but we do like 3-level farming. So you've got your canopy crop, which would be your avocados. No one's guessed this one yet, by the way. Which would be your avocados or mangoes or lychee or longan, or these guys here are called Sapadilla. I'll show you what one looks like before we end the stream. You could have mame, whatever. That's goes up a tree and grows way up in the sky. Then you could also lay out a ground crop. And in my case, that's Monstera deliciosa. So as far as like ground cover, I plant as much Monstera as I can between my trees. So let's say I have a row with 25 trees. I'll plant Monstera between two, then I leave an opening. Then more Monstera, leave an opening. You got to leave the opening so you can get your trucks and your picking machines through. And so I plant the Monstera in the spaces where I've got a sprinkler, you know, and then the spot where there's no sprinkler, I leave it open so I can get my trucks and my equipment through. And that would be the ground crop. And then you could plant like 2 or 3 rows of pineapples if you wanted. And then the middle, so you have your ground crop, in my case, Monstera. So I've got my canopy crop, which is avocado. I've got my ground crop, which is Monstera. And then you could even plant like a mid-level crop. Like if anyone's familiar with dragon fruit is like a sort of a climbing cactus looking thing. You root it in the ground, but you can have it like climb up a tree and then it'll get to like the first fork in the tree and kind of branch out. And you could have Monstera pineapple on the ground, dragon fruit at about eye level, and then your canopy crop up above you. And so that's something we're doing now to get more out of our land, because we're running out of farmland. We're running out of farmland, and they're widening the roads down here. The city's coming, you know. I might have to make a jump to Montana or something at some point. It's just my love of tropical fruit is what keeps me here, but it's too much. It's getting to be too much. Let's see some questions here. Doug, you wouldn't have passed out from the pain because it was completely numb. I think I severed the nerve. Perry, you're going to be 57 in January. Well, I feel old. I mean, I'm a football coach. I'm around kids from peewee age, 5, 6, up to 13. And then my son's in high school and I'm around him and his friends. And I definitely feel old compared to them. Who won the hat? Nobody. So I'm gonna hold this avocado up again. First one to name this variety of avocado. This thing is huge. It's very clean and shiny. I have eaten this variety on a stream in the past. This would weigh about 4 pounds, this one. First one to guess it gets a hat. Maddox wants to know what my favorite variety of mango is. My favorite variety of mango, I have many different ways to answer this question. I think right now my favorite is the white Perry in terms of flavor. Although I tried a lemon zest and I really loved that one too. I really loved lemon zest. My favorite mango to grow is the Valencia Pride. The tree grows super fast. It gives you a crop every year. It gives you a big crop every year. It's a classic flavored mango and they taste delicious. And if I had a backyard that only had room for one tree, I wouldn't put white Perry. I wouldn't put my favorite tasting avocado. My favorite tasting mango. I would put Valencia Pride, which is my all-around favorite mango in terms of growth, disease resistance, prettiness, beauty. It's a very, nice looking mango. The tree grows fast, it produces a lot, and the flavor is really, really good. So there's 2 answers. And you know what? Most tropical fruit people, when you ask them what is your favorite blank, you will almost never get an unequivocal answer. You will always get a qualified top 3 type answer like I just gave you. O.C. Neal, you're welcome for the links. There it is. O.C. Neal was the one who asked about the cover crop. Got it. Okay. No, it's not a pollock. No, it's not a reed. I dig big blocks peat. You a mechanic? Dense gardening. Okay, I mean, it is dense gardening, and I definitely have to fertilize and water more. Growing rare fruit in Paso Robles. You got it. This is a Loretta. God damn. You know what? You get a hat and a box of avocados. I'm blown away. I didn't think anyone was going to get that. Okay, growing, it has to be the guy with the biggest name. I'm going to just call you Growing Rare. Growing Rare wins hat and a box of avocados. Okay, Growing Rare, what you got to do, go to the my home page, I guess. It's probably dated technology or dated terminology. Go to I guess it is, yeah, my YouTube channel page. And in the About section, there's a button that says send an email. Or maybe my email is listed there, I don't know. Send me an email. Tell me this is growing rare fruit in Paso Robles, California. And I correctly guessed they're Loretta. Tell me your mailing address. Tell me, do you want a red, blue, black, or gray hat? And remind me that you also won a box of avocados, even though I already have it written down here. Pedro, you planted mango a year ago. Do you need to worry about winter? I mean, even here in South Florida, where the Keys are right 20 minutes away. I mean, I took my kid to a birthday party in the Keys on Saturday, which have the highest average temperature, even more than Hawaii, I think, throughout the year. We still have to worry about frost and freezes here. So yes, you do. But only if it's going to dip below 32 degrees. And if it's going to dip below 32 degrees, take measures to protect your mango tree. You can run your sprinkler all night. Now, if you're on city water, that might get very expensive. And I know California is a little touchy about water usage, so that might not be a good option for you. You might want to consider covering it. Not that trees give off their own heat, but it'll help from the dew and the frost and stuff forming on the tree. Or you might want to get a heat lamp or wrap it in old-fashioned Christmas lights, not LEDs that don't give off heat, but old-fashioned lights. But yeah, you would want to take measures if it's going to get below 32 for sure. Perry, please don't leave Florida. You're making your move. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to leave, but this ain't what I moved to 15 years ago or 13 years ago. It was... Like I mean, the kids still go out on their four-wheelers and stuff like that. You still see horses around every now and then, but it's not like it was. It's not like it was. It was loaded with groves. Now there's tens of thousands of new units built between housing and more, townhouse complexes and stuff like that. I don't want to be in a city, and this is becoming a city. But we'll see what happens. Oh, where I am, it's still very much the woods. But, this was like a small farm town, and it's just turning into an extension of Miami, which brings with it a lot of, well, if you've ever lived in Miami, a lot of assholes who, don't really know how to get along down here. Yeah, James, we have an avocado variety called Marcus Pumpkin that's huge. Hillbilly Joe, I should call you, that's not a Kula avocado. Manuel took his message back. I wonder what he said. Yeah, O.C. O'Neill, that is not an avocado at all. It's an unripe watermelon. I have another variety here that actually looks like a watermelon. You're probably not going to see it in the light, but I'll describe it. So I'll give you a hint. This is not a choquette. It's not a Loretta. And I don't know if the camera's going to capture it, but there's some slight yellow streaks. Whoever can guess this one wins a box of avocados. And I'll give you a hint. I do sell this variety, and it's very popular in my customer base. And it's not a choquette. Name this variety first, and you win a box of avocados. It's a summer variety, mid-season variety. Also a huge avocado. Manuel wants to know, is choquette a good hardy avocado? It is. Choquette's cold hardy even. It'll handle a few hours of a freeze. How big is the pit in the Loretta? It's about the same size as what comes out of a Monroe. So that's what comes out of a Monroe. You're going to get a pit about that size also. There's a lot of flesh in a Loretta. Similarly, in the choquettes, which get really big, you'll get a big pit. Now this variety, I'll ask what this is later. This one does have a bigger and different shaped pit, but we'll get back to this one later. No, Robert, it's not a Monroe. And let's see, another question. It also has many other sprouts. How long should I wait to separate them, and is it risky? Pedro, are you the one who mentioned you planted a mango a year ago? If you planted it a year ago, those might be all fused together. When you get a polyembryonic mango seed, and multiple sprouts, you have to separate them right away. I think it might be tough for you to separate it now, because you want to have a root system with each sprout. No one's guessed it yet what variety this is. Many of you have bought it from me and tried it before. It's not a Lisa. Okay, Pedro. Yeah. So yes. If you think what you planted was a polyembryonic mango seed a year ago, I don't think you're going to be able to separate them. I mean, if you want to get in there and spray the soil off, and if you can kind of separate them, like untangle the root system and put them in separate pots. But by now, that all might be fused together in one root system. And just a reminder, I'm seeing some orders come across. Let me just look here. If you're someone who wants to try the Booth 8, I suggest you act fast because we only have about 15 orders left. And again, you could get that at guacfarm.com, guacfarm.com. You could also get this hat I've been giving away all night, or this shirt. We also have long sleeve shirts out there. Let's see. I said I'd open up a Sapadilla. Let me see here. Okay, this one's the softest one, but I don't think it's like soft and ready to eat yet, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice for you guys. So this is a Sapadilla, and this we're also going to be selling on guacfarm.com, guacfarm.com. Sapadilla is in the mame family, the sapote family, but it doesn't taste like a mame at all. It does look like a mini mame. It's got that suede-like skin to it. But the flavor and the texture is not the same at all. And I'm going to cut this one open just so you can see what they look like on the inside. It might be a tad too early. Let me see here. Yes, never mind. It was too early to open that. This guy needed a couple more days to ripen on my counter. When these things, not even worth talking about now. They have a very beautiful, like orange-brown flesh on the inside. It's probably not even going to taste good. And then the texture of the flesh is like a pear. Oh no, you can't eat that. That was way too early. Hold on, I need a sip of my Coke. Yeah, I just grabbed these on a whim. And I thought I'd show you, and I just got a little carried away. This needs about 2 more days on the counter to soften up. But the Sapadilla, I'll be selling those starting in December. We've already started picking them, obviously, but I want to wait until they're really good. I want to taste some myself and make sure they're good before I start selling them. So that'll be a new product I'm introducing to you guys on guacfarm.com, guacfarm.com in 2024 into 2025. This is like a mid-sized one. There's ones that are about half this size that I sell, and there's some that are about twice this size. There's different varieties, and they've got the consistency of a pear. They've got that gritty flesh, that's sandy, like, oh, I love it. Some people don't like it. I love it. You can eat right through the skin, and the flavor is molasses or brown sugar. Some of the varieties even have a little bit of a cinnamon. Not like the spicy cinnamon, not like Big Red chewing gum, but just like a subtle cinnamon flavor that you might pick up like in a pumpkin pie or something like that. So good. So that's something we'll be selling on guacfarm.com, and I'm expecting it to do really good because last year I introduced mame. People who grew up in the Caribbean, Central and South America, and South Florida are familiar with mame. The rest of the world is not. Here in Miami, it's everywhere. You can't walk into a little corner cafeteria without seeing it, and people sell it. It's everywhere, and it's beloved. It's like apples down here. They're ubiquitous. And I started selling mame. I don't have any because they're not, they're only tiny on the tree right now. They grow really big, like the size of a football. I started selling it last year, and customers who already know mame jumped on it. They're like, oh my God, I've been living in this little town in Illinois. I never thought I'd ever eat a mame again, and they've ordered it. But people who didn't know mame, but who trusted me and said, you know what, let me try this unique fruit. This guy Tom seems to really like it. Just about everyone who ordered it once ordered it a second time. and a third time and a fourth time, and people gave it to their friends, and their friends ordered it. And I really feel like, in a very small way, I'm responsible for like opening up the market of Mame to a whole new set of people. And I want to do that with its cousin, Sapadilla, too. This fruit is so good. You know, I'll be out in the grove working, and I'll stumble upon a ripe one, sometimes out of season. The fruit tend to ripen in December and January, but you'll get rogue fruit all year round off your trees, but you'll get the bulk of your crop, the vast majority, December, January, February. But every now and then I'll be out there working, and I'll come upon a ripe one. The way we know they're ripe, we scratch the skin. If the skin is green, like the color of these avocados, you leave it on the tree. If it's more like yellow, like the color of the inside of that avocado, or a little brownish, then you know to pick it. And I'll bring it in. My wife will be here working, and I'll show her one of these, and she will just attack me. Like we'll cut it in half. She'll take the biggest half. Hers will be gone before I savor them. She just sucks them. She just loves them. And I don't mean to overset expectations, but I think you guys are going to love them too. Okay, James wants to know, is that avocado from Guatemala? I don't know which one you're talking about, but this one here, this booth, is believed to be of Guatemalan heritage. This is the one I opened earlier, this guy right here with the very thick skin. That one I believe is of Guatemalan heritage. And the other variety I grow, the Choquette, I think is like half Guatemalan, half West Indian, but I'm not sure on that. Yeah, OC Neil wants a bumpy avocado. So OC Neil, I showed you how thick the skin is on these Booth 8s. It's almost like walnut consistency. It's very tough. Could be a little helmet for your cat, you know, if your cat wants to ride a motorcycle. The bumpy cado is probably 4 times thicker. It's almost like wood. It's almost like a walnut shell with an avocado inside of it. And then a big seed and just this little ring of flesh. But oh my God, is the flesh delicious. But there's only one tree in the world at Lara Farms that grows the bumpy cado. And so you're gonna have to hit up Julian at Lara Farms and ask him to graft you a seedling, or go on his wait list for a seedling, and you'll have the bumpy cado in a little bit. Okay, I think you got, yeah, Greater Good, Batido de Mame, yep. You guys can stop guessing because Growing Rare Fruit got it. This was a Loretta. Giuseppe, how you doing, buddy? Oh, okay, wait a minute. You guys are guessing the other one. You Dig Big Blocks Pete guessed Miguel, which was this one, and you are right. So what did I say? You get a box of avocados, I think I said, right? So I Dig Big Blocks Pete. So I Dig Big Blocks, what you got to do is go on my YouTube channel and send me an email. Go to my main YouTube page, go to the About section, click on Send Email. Tell me your I Dig Big Block Pete, and that I owe you a box of avocados. Unless I told you a shirt or a t-shirt or something like that, or a hat. But I think I said avocados. But whatever I said the prize was, just remind me, and I'll send it to you. So congratulations on the win, Giuseppe. Or I mean, I Dig Pete. Giuseppe's the next comment. You ordered Monroe Science for me. They're about to ship soon. You're planning to graft them on your in-ground Florida house in Central Florida. Do you think they'll take a brief freeze? I don't know. I would say not. Like my finger was sewed back on, right? So it's like I have a graft, and I'm supposed to keep it dry. I'm not supposed to use it. You know, just don't tell anyone I've been working, guys, since I cut this thing. Not supposed to move it. I'm on antibiotics to keep it from being infected. I gotta believe that a grafted tree is in its most vulnerable, you know, until that graft really thoroughly heals. So if you're gonna do it this time of year, we do it this time of year down here all the time, but we don't get frost and freeze as much as people say Orlando and up do. just make sure you protect it, you know, rig up something where you can put a little heat lamp on it if you think it's going to get below 32. But I mean, it is a delicate time, you know, for a tree. It's an injury, just like a human being has to nurse an injury. So it's a concern, Giuseppe. And yes, I'll be sending them out on Monday. I've printed all the logos and we're making up all the boxes and the packaging. And then on Sunday and Monday, my son and I will be harvesting all the cuttings and sending them out. Thank you, Blind Eye. We will have a happy Thanksgiving. We're going to Paul from Fruitful Trees. I don't know if any of you watch Paul from the YouTube channel Fruitful Trees, but he invited us to our house. The interesting thing there is he's a vegan, and it'll be my first time going to a vegan's house for Thanksgiving, although I think he said they are going to have a turkey. That's the cool thing about Paul. This is what I love about Paul. I've really developed a strong friendship and a strong admiration for Paul. And one of the things that surprised me most about Paul when I first met him, he reached out to me and he said he wanted to come to the farm and do a video, you know how he interviews people. And I said yes, because I did want to meet him. However, I had my guard up, and I had my guard up for two reasons. Just about all vegans I meet, and I apologize if you're a vegan, but I'm just being honest with my observations, tend to be very preachy and tend to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll think of it. But they tend to want to convert everyone to being a vegan, and they tend to be judgmental if you are not vegan, and if you express any sort of apathy, let alone disagree with them. But even if you're not interested, there's a lot of arm twisting. In addition, Paul has very deep faith in his religion. And I've found that to be true of people that are, you know, have very deep religious convictions as well, that they tend to be a little on the judgmental side, a little on the arm twisty side. But whatever, I love meeting new people, you know. And for a guy that's a vegan and for a guy that's very devoutly a very, very devout follower of his faith, he's not at all preachy. He's not at all judgmental. In fact, he's the opposite of judgmental. He's very open-minded and he's very inquisitive. And I don't know. I went into meeting him expecting what I usually get from vegans and expecting what I usually get from religious people, and I didn't get that from Paul, you know. And since then, it's been about 3 years, and we've developed a really good friendship, and I'm looking forward to going to his house. And if you're deeply religious or vegan, and I just offended you, I mean, I don't mean to. I'm just giving you my observations, my experience of people who have those beliefs. I don't get it, especially the vegan. I get religious people because a lot of times there's a tendency to try to convert and you know, carry the message and that sort of thing. But I don't know why if someone decides they're a vegan and then they want you. You know, I had dinner one time. My brother invited me out for dinner with a bunch of his friends, and the guy sitting next to me, I swear to God, he's like, "Oh, it's so hard. There's nothing vegan on the menu." And I'm like, "How long you been vegan?" He goes, "Well, I'm on my 3rd day." And I'm like, "Dude, you still got meat working through your system if you're on your 3rd day," which is fine. But it brought up this philosophical question for me. Like, at what point can you declare yourself a vegan? Like, is it when you make the decision? Do you need to have flushed out sort of like all the nutrition that's kind of residual in your body from the consumption of non-vegan food? And then you could declare yourself vegan? And then I thought, well, you know, at what point can you call yourself a guitar player? Like, if you buy a guitar and play it real shitty and never take any lessons and don't learn it, but you technically play it, I don't think that qualifies as a guitar player. I think it's pretty clear, like Eddie Van Halen or Jimi Hendrix are guitar players, but there was a time when both of them weren't, and and then they were, And somewhere in this middle, they went from not being a guitar player to being a guitar player. When does that happen? And that happened to me sitting next to that vegan that night at dinner. But I just went off on a tangent, but whatever. That's it. So let's see who's yelling at me now. I like getting yelled at online, by the way. It doesn't bother me a bit. Okay, growing rare fruit has a Miguel tree. Oh my God, I'll tell you what. No, the Miguels, they are super productive growing rare. I don't know what you want me to call you. I'm gonna call you growing, okay, growing. The Miguels are delicious. They've got a very firm flesh. I mean firm, like you could cut them into cubes and put them in a salad and they retain their shape. They are super clean. I mean, it's good to spray them with copper to keep, they will get scale and they will get marked up, but not as bad as other varieties. Certainly not as bad as the Lula. They're more on the clean side. Extremely pretty avocado. As you can see, they're very shiny. And you probably, like I say, the camera's probably not picking it up, but there's these subtle yellow stripes that make it look a little like a watermelon. This is big for a Miguel, by the way. But it's also, this was very late. Like these, we normally have them all picked by the end of August, even by mid-August. It's almost December now. So this guy's been growing on the tree for a few extra months. But you made a really good choice growing, getting yourself a Miguel. Let's see, Blind Eye, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, that's how we got off on that tangent, that's right. Josh Mick, you're eating an early lunch of toast with Reed avocado and bacon, life is good. So if it's an early lunch and it's 9:38 here, I'm guessing, are you over in Australia? That would be a super early lunch. Let us know, Josh Mick, where you're at. Gadiel Gonzalez, I said in another live that I fertilize my trees September and February. Do I put fertilizer in trees in bloom? Yes. Yeah, we did our September fertilizing 2 months ago, and in February, whether they're in bloom or they might already be popping little fruit, we will fertilize them then, yes. And we use 839 fertilizer. Is Noe roasting Pablo? No, greater good. We're going to Paul's from, well, you know Paul. Blind Eye, yeah, Paul's very knowledgeable. He's a super good guy. I love him. I love him. I love his whole family. His wife is amazing. His 2 little babies are adorable. I'm so looking forward to Thursday. I can't wait. Greater Good believes in being a vegan through osmosis. Pedro is signing off. I hope I didn't offend you when I talked about religious people. Josh Mick, you're a 2nd-degree vegan. Cows and sheep are vegans. You eat them. Greater Good says, where is he here? Let the critters be, yeah, okay, so you and Josh agree. Paul's been around. Paul has been around. You know, Paul's had a lot of great experiences. He's got a lot of great stories. But like I say, the thing I love about Paul is his inquisitive nature. And Paul's one of the few people, particularly in South Florida. I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, up in the Poconos. And a characteristic of people up where I come from, they're great listeners. They're curious, inquisitive people. And they want to know, hey, what's it like in Florida? What's it like owning an avocado farm? You know, tell me about your son. And they listen and they nod their head and they ask clarifying questions. And then when I'm done speaking and it's their turn to speak, you know, I give them the same courtesy. But you don't get that in Miami. People don't. In fact, like you can't even tell a joke. You can't even, you know, jokes require like, you know, a setup and a premise and then maybe a distraction and then a punchline. You have to tweet down here. People just, there's no attention span at all. And when I'm talking to Paul, I love it because the guy listens. And then when it's his turn to talk, I listen because he has fascinating stories. Perry Bridgman, keep an open mind and be respectful of all. It's an easy rep. Ariel, am I live now? Yes, Ariel, I am live now. I know a lot of people go on the replay of the lives and they text me questions like a week after I've been live and then they wonder why I'm not answering. But yes, we're live now. Greater Good, Jimmy Page, also a guitar player, yes. Maddox, would it be too late to plant a mango tree? I wouldn't plant a mango tree right now, Mango. Well, I don't know where you are, Maddox. Tell me where you are. You should plant a mango tree right at the beginning of your rainy season and give it a chance to rain in, you know, give it a chance to water in. We're in our dry season now, so I won't plant anything now. I could, and then I could run my irrigation, but I don't want to irrigate my mature trees now. They're in their dormant period. I want them to, you know, dry out a little bit. So I plant in May and June. And my suggestion to everyone is plant just at the beginning of your rainy season. So I don't know where you live, Maddox, but if you're just about to start rainy season, yes. If not, then I'd hold off. Robert, what is the best small type of avocado to grow in a container? Great question. Lula is fantastic. This is a huge Lula. Most Lulas are small. And Lula is a mid-level producer. It's not as productive as, say, the Miguel or the Monroe or the Choquette, which is what you want for a potted tree because it's going to be small. And it's not going to have a lot of, nutrients in the soil to produce a lot of biomass in the first place. But more importantly, since it's small, you don't want to break the branches. You don't want to tip it over. And so that's a good small one. The Hass is a good one. We don't grow those here in South Florida because it's too sunny and they don't have a lot of leaves. I'm becoming a big fan of the Booth 8 for the last 2 weeks. I picked a few of these as testers 2 weeks ago. Started eating them myself when both myself and my wife decided we liked the Booth 8. I started selling them on guacfarm.com, and I've got about a dozen orders left. Since this stream started, I've sold 3. guacfarm.com if you want to try the Booth 8. And here's how small some of them are. This would be a great size to grow in a potted tree, on your patio or in your backyard or something. You definitely don't want a Loretta because you have to use a lot of biomass from under the ground, a lot of nutrition and energy to produce even one of these. And maybe you'd get one fruit, and then that one fruit's going to crack your tree in half anyway. I mean, this is 4 pounds. Let's see here. Yeah, down a rabbit hole, Wayno. Artful Watcher, where'd you go? I lost my comments now. Keto, vegan, vegetarian, definitely put money in an avocado farmer's pocket. They're so versatile, probably the smartest choice for a homegrowner that will actually eat the food they grow. I agree with you, Artful Watcher, and there's 2 things about avocados. One is they stick to your ribs. You eat an apple or a carrot or some celery, there's not a lot of calories there, you know what I mean? But an avocado will fill you up. It makes a great meal. But the better thing about avocados, especially if you're growing your own food, is you could store them on your tree. When you grow tomatoes in a garden, that first one turns red the first day and it's ready to pick. The rest of them turn red the next day and they're ready to pick. And on the 3rd day, you're out of tomatoes. They're rotting already. Avocados, they all have their own time. Lula is October. Where's the Miguel? Miguel is late July, August. I have a Simmons here. I found a Simmons. This guy was just sitting around on a tree, so I grabbed it just to see how it tastes. These things start in June, July, August, September, October, November. This guy's almost 7 months into its season. Probably too old, and it's probably going to have a little bit of a sour taste to it. But you could let a Lula, an early season, sit for 60 to 90 days. The Monroes start in November, and I leave them till Super Bowl Sunday some years. November, December, January, part of February. So if you grow your own food, avocados are an excellent choice, like Artful Watcher says, because you can spread them out. You can leave them on the tree. They don't finish ripening until you've picked them and let them sit at room temperature. Oh, and if you see me scratching like crazy today, that's because this new grove I leased is a mess. It's full of vines. It's full of nasty invasive trees and plants, grass, all kinds of critters. And I don't know if any of you have ever done any hardcore clearing of land in South Florida, you just itch for the rest of the night. It's just how it is. Jupiter picked up a Lula to pair with his Oro and Brogdon. That's going to be great. Now, you've got Brogdon's August, Oro's December, Lula's going to be October, so you have the end of the year covered. If you want something for earlier in the year, I highly recommend Simmons if you have space. Okay, Josh Mick is down in Western Australia. I figured that. Yeah, if it's early lunchtime down there. Asher, should you wait to repot a small avocado until after winter, or can you repot it during winter? You can repot whenever you want. You're going to get some, transplant shock. The leaves are going to wilt. People are probably already typing comments in here that they know a special trick where you won't get transplant shock. None of those tricks work. You just let your tree be a little droopy for a day or two, give it water, give it its proper light and nutrition, and it perks back up in 2 days. No big deal at all. Giuseppe, thanks for the honest take. Yeah, I mean, good luck with the grafts, but you're going to have to protect your trees anyway. Okay, Maddox is up in Jacksonville. Yeah, I wouldn't plant mango now, Maddox. I'd wait until next June before the rains come. Artful Watcher, Fruitful Trees has gone all in on white sapote. He put a new video out today about white sapote, in fact. And you also have land. Okay, where are we here? You have a small homestead. Oh, you've got a 1 gallon Redland. I'm guessing you're talking about white sapote. Campbell. Okay. Oh my God, white sapote is so delicious. It's so good. And you're right, Paul, I think is trying to get every variety. I love it when he shares one with me, but I'd rather he keep them for himself because I know how much he loves them. But if he wants to share one, I'll eat one when I'm up at his house. I love them. Joe is going to catch up on the first 73 minutes of the replay. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Artful, your Balliet scions that you grafted are doing great on top of your Valencia Pride. Wow, I'm really happy about that. So what Artful's talking about here is I have a variety of mango that was grown from seed. Right now there's only one fruit-bearing tree in the whole world, and it's right over there in my grove. And I named it the Balliet after my grandparents, after the mother and father of my mom, Bill and Bessie Balliet. Both of whom would be, I think Bessie would be 120 if she was alive today, and Bill would be pressing in on 130. No, that can't be right. He was born in the 20th century. I think he was born in 1904. So he's the one that would be like 120. My grandmother would be, I think she was born like 1908, 1909. So do that math. She'd be around 115. Great people, just salt of the earth. My grandfather went to the Wharton School, which I don't know how that relates to University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. But he went to business school, and it was called the Wharton School, but it was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And so he went all the way through, like, I think an associate's degree. My grandmother dropped out of school in 8th grade to work in the coal mines, and they were just the most sincere, nice people you ever met in your life. And it tickles me. It makes me so happy. Artful, there's also a few other people that have successfully grafted the Balliet that in about 3 years' time, the mango named after my grandparents will be growing here in Florida. There'll be Tim, I'm not gonna say his last name because I don't know if he wants me to, but he's got a few going over in California. He sent me pictures, and it makes me really happy that you guys are doing that, so thank you. Robert saw a video on container growing for avocado. I just answered that. Anything that's I'm not criticizing you saying, oh, I just answered that. You can ask me questions, repeat questions all you want. But I think this Booth 8 is a good variety. There's one called the Tower 2 that's really small. There's one called the Taylor that's small. Any variety that grows small, I recommend for container growing. Blind Eye. 6 fruit that I sent you a variety. Avocado, mango, mamey are all doing good. They're all about a foot. The mamey, yeah, they don't have to be grafted, but if you grow it from seed, I think mamey takes a really long time to fruit. It's my understanding you're in for at least a 10-year wait, and then once it fruits, the fruit also requires another 18 months. Whereas a graft, it'll start producing a little bit earlier. Joe Serrano asking about the 4-pound avocado. Yeah, 2 kilos, exactly. That's 2 kilos. Ken, what are my top 3 avocados? Lula. I just added one to my favorites, and I can't remember the name now. But Lula's up there, Simmons is up there, and I really like, the Marcus Pumpkin. Oh my God, I tried the Marcus Pumpkin this year for the first time, and I think it goes Lula, Simmons, Marcus Pumpkin, Brogdon being a 4th. Love them. John Fye, how you doing, buddy? Joe Serrano. Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. So you can like take the hole here take the pit out and stuff that with something. That's a great idea. Oh my God, growing, you're talking about poison oak and Paso Robles. We've got a tree here called poisonwood, and I believe it's that same chemical that's in poison ivy, poison oak, etc. But it is insanely high concentration. It's so that oil that gets on your skin. If someone else touches your skin, they get it too. And you start out with the irritation that you know you shouldn't itch, but you can't not itch it. Starts out like poison ivy or poison oak. It eventually morphs and it travels. And if you scratch here and then scratch your chest, you're going to get it on your chest. And it turns into scabs like road rash, like you crashed on a bicycle and slid down the asphalt. My son, and he should have known better, he was playing in it one time, and he should have known better. He was old enough and an outdoorsman enough to know that he shouldn't have been fucking around with poison wood, but he was with him and his friend, and we had to take him to the hospital. They grow little berries, and he was picking the berries and throwing them at his friend. These things are so toxic. Just the little dots, the little welts from his friend getting hit with the poison wood, all broke out. And when I went to get them, the mom was like, "What do you think's wrong with my kid?" And my son told me he was throwing the seeds, and I was like, my son looked fine. And I was like, "You were picking those little berries off the poison wood and throwing them at Eli?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You're fucked. You're dead meat, dude. You're dead meat." And at like 4 a.m, he comes, wakes us out of bed. His face is like this. His cheeks are swollen. Thank God he didn't have any kind of throat issue, or he'd be dead. And we gave him some Benadryl. Then my wife's friend's a doctor. She said, "Bring him in." She gave him a few shots, and it took about 4 days before the swelling went down. And he was a kid at the time, maybe 7 years old. He's 16 now, and he's still, the skin on his cheeks, it got real rough. That roughness has never gone away. It screwed him up for life. It's bad. Poison wood is bad. That's not what I'm itching from. This is just, I don't know if they're little insects or little sap that falls from the tree, but when you're clearing like garbage, like weeds and junk trees here in South Florida, you really need to have long sleeves, tape them closed, a hoodie tied up, gloves, any exposed skin, you're going to be itching all night long. Me, I just itch. I don't care. I'll scratch it, I'll ignore it, and then by midnight it'll be gone away, but it's annoying. Do I have, where are we here? Joe Serrano wants to know, do I have white sapote? I do not. I don't grow white sapote. I love it, but I don't grow it. Growing has some. Joe says, oh, he's talking, okay. James Schrager, you just got a Valkyrie. Does it grow like a Valencia Pride? I don't know. I know of the Valkyrie. I don't know anything about it. Greater Good, you're right. Balliet is on the huge side as mangoes go. It's also an early season. I start picking them in May. I don't think it's like a top-notch flavor like the sweet tart or the sunrise or the lemon zest or the white berry or anything like that. It's a classic, traditional Florida mango tasting mango, but I love it just because it's special to me. Do I sell fruit trees on guacfarm.com, Maddox? I do not. My biggest customer base is California, and it would be silly for me to try to go through all of the inspections and stuff I would need to be able to sell to California when there's like nurseries all around me who have been doing it for decades and are just better at growing trees and stuff. So I usually just recommend Lara Farms, or for certain varieties of mango, you of course have Tropical Acres, which is Alex up in West Palm Beach. And then I haven't met her yet, but I have a lot of respect. I watch her videos all the time, which is Chris at Truly Tropical, is also a good place to get trees. Oh, John, you caught me on the fruitful trees. Yeah, with Paul. I was just saying I'm going to his house for Thanksgiving. Artful, when you're in the yard and you have to deal with acacia tree, Brazilian pepper. Oh, let me tell you something, dude. Don't ever, okay, that Brazilian pepper is horrible. Whatever, I don't know if it's insects or powder or sap, but not only does that kill you, I tried burning it one time, and it irritated my throat and my lungs. That's my arch nemesis. I have a patch of that along one section of fence in an area of land that one of my neighbors neglects. And about every other year it grows over into my property, and then I go out and cut it back. And I suffer for the rest of the day. It's terrible. It's terrible. Joe is waiting patiently for mango season till February. We don't get our mangoes really till May. I guess in April we get what's that called? The rosy gold. But I don't know where you are that you get them in February, but that's great. Yeah, John got 3 of 4 from Safeway. It's amazing. I get a little bit of crap from people in the mango world. Like they're like mango gatekeepers, because I grow Glen, Kith, Kent, Hayden, Valencia Pride. And not only do I grow them, I'm unapologetic about it. I grow them on purpose because they are delicious and they're high producers and they're fast growers, and my customers absolutely love them. Why do my customers love those varieties? Because just about everyone else in the world, unless you come from the Caribbean, Mexico, certain places in Africa, certain places in Asia, if you don't come from somewhere where mangoes grow, which is a huge, huge population of people, particularly in North America, if you don't live where mangoes grow, then you get your mangoes at the supermarket, which means they were picked too early, they were imported, they were chilled, they were gassed in, they might have even been irradiated. And by the time they get to your kitchen, and by the time they get to your table to eat, they're disgusting. They just have no flavor at all. And so the mangoes I sell are just head and shoulders, just so far better than anything anyone's getting at a supermarket. The gap from supermarket mango to like classic, if this is supermarket mango, this is classic Florida mango. And then if you have classic Florida mango, all those little specialties, yeah, they're better, but they're not like this jump from here to here. And so I'm not going to sit there and try to grow a bunch of white Perrys or a bunch of lemon zest that gets sick, a bunch of Garys that are delicious, but only produce every other or every third year. Or lemon zest that the trees get real sick and they're not very productive. When I could produce Valencia Prides that people absolutely love. They love them. And so that's what I grow. And I love those varieties. Now, I do have a specialty mango section. In fact, I'm looking at a window here. It's right out there. I've got, let me see, I'll go around the horn. I've got Kesar, Maha Chinook, arguably not necessarily a specialty Maha Chinook, coconut cream, 015, Gary, lemon meringue, Julie, Hindi Basanari, lemon zest. I don't know, there's another one. I forget what it's called. A Wise, W-I-S-E. Those are like my specialty ones because I like the flavor of each of those. But they produce very small quantity and they take a lot of work to raise. I could never satisfy a customer base with those. But the Glen, the Kith, the Valencia Pride, oh my God, my customers love them. Joe, I don't know if the Brazilian pepper is a good repellent for ants, but it's a good repellent for humans, that's for sure. Artful Watcher, Glen Mango will always be a good choice. A mild, nice, mild, heavy producer, not too crazy big variety. It's a great variety. You're right, and they don't get huge. I love them, they're delicious. Maddox Gardening, you have a mango seedling, it branches every time it grows. What should you graft onto it? Thinking of naming it the Ron. Well, if it's your own variety and you want to cultivate it, don't graft anything onto it. Let it grow to maturity and see what it gives you. And then you can graft it onto other trees. John, you've only been doing lemon, lime, and orange so far, but you're looking at getting a mango tree. Yeah, I know. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thank you for your business. You sent me an order. I think I either sent you a box of avocados today, Chris, or yours are going out tomorrow. But I did see your name come across, and I always appreciate when you order from me. Thank you. John, back to the citrus. Yeah, citrus. I think people are much more successful growing it in pots, even growing it indoors. I know a guy that lives in North Carolina, and he gets his limes to fruit in his living room, which I think is really cool. Joe wants to know: did anyone try overnight oats with mango? It's like eating mango ice cream for breakfast. Never even heard of overnight oats, but sounds like it's good. Guys, I've been going for 90 minutes. This was just like a little, spur of the moment thing. Because, my son's gaming and my wife's out with her friends. And I just wanted to wrap up my day. And I haven't been in much contact with y'all. Me and Julie and Paul haven't done an episode of Guac Talk in a couple of weeks. But we'll be doing one soon. So I'm going to sign off now. I'm very tired. I'm not myself right now. I'm not as energetic as I normally am. I put in a very, very long work day today. But I thank you for being here to keep me company. And I was glad to answer your questions, and I'm glad some of you answered people's questions. But with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I think I'm going to just shut things down, take a shower, and go to sleep. And so we'll see you soon. Remember, if you want to get some avocados or a hat or a shirt, go to guacfarm.com, particularly if you want to get these Booth 8, which, like I said, I've got about a dozen more orders that are going to go out tomorrow, and that's it. I won't have any until next year. Guacfarm.com, GUACFARM.com, and I'll see you all on the next live stream. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.